Hello folks, I am back with another firearms review, and what you see in front of you is a firearm I just recently reviewed. It is the Kimber Aegis Elite Custom OI, meaning optic installed, and this one is in 9mm. I was happy when they brought back the Aegis Elite line. The Aegis Elite line wasn't was out of commission for a little bit, maybe a year or two, for all the upgrades that they decided to do on that line. But like I said, I was so happy with this firearm that I actually wanted to get another one in the same family. So here is the new Aegis Elite that I just picked up. And like I said, the other one was in 9mm. And here it is. This is the Aegis Elite Pro. And what they call the Pro version is basically their version of calling it the commander size of firearms. Let me move all this out of the way. Basically, what you see here is how it comes. I'm not going to go through the whole what's in the box thing. So I'll be back momentarily. Okay, let me give you some specs about the Aegis Elite Pro. Like I said, this is like the commander size, but this one is different from the other one. The fact that this is in 45 ACP. As you see, the magazines are out. Give you a little safety check real quick so you know that there's nothing in it. And here we go. All right, just to give you some specs, the actual height of this firearm is going to be 5.25 inches, and it weighs roughly around 35 ounces, and that's because this is the shorter version than the other one. Like I said, this is more like the commander size, and the other one would be more like the government size, so that's why there's a particular weight difference there. It comes with actually one 8-round magazine. This is their Pro Tac Mag. And finally, they stepped it up a little bit by adding 2 different base plates. Now, it comes normally just flat, and then they give you additional 2. You'll have this base plate, which I elected to use, and a thicker one that sticks out a little farther. But still, Kimber does not give you a second magazine. So I went and purchased these 2 other ones. These are also 8-round magazines. These are Wilson Combat magazines. And all 3 of these magazines, I am happy and proud to say that there were no malfunctions, no issues, no feeding issues, and so forth. So if anybody is interested in magazines for their 1911s, you can get the Wilson Combat 500. They call the model number 500, and it's part of their 1911 Elite Tactical Magazine series. I have the Elite Tactical Magazine series for my Aegis Elite in 9mm. But getting back, here we have, it does have a full-length capture type guide rod. This is a bull barrel, meaning it doesn't have a bushing that you take off in the front. And as you see here, there is a spot here. There's a little hole right here. I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but there's a hole right here. They give you a tool to put that little hole in there for easier takedown. Now, there are other videos out there that you can go to show you how to break this down. But let's say if you lost a tool or anything of that nature, a standard paper clip will do fine. All you do is just stick that in, bend it straight, and then do your normal breakdown like a regular 1911. What it does is it holds the spring in place, so it enables you to take the whole slide off and capture everything together, so you'll be able to disassemble it. Because on normal 1911s, as you know, we're used to a regular bushing on the 1911s. But this one is pretty decent. I'm not going to take this apart, but the barrel, as you see right here, is really nice bull barrel type. And it does contain a full full-length guide rod like I mentioned earlier. Stainless steel. What I like about when you have a full-length guide rod, it adds weight. It might not sit well with a lot of 1911 purists to have a full-length guide rod, but it does add to weight and help mitigating recoil as well as muzzle flip. Let me go a little further. We have the checkering in the front here. This is 24 lines per inch checkering, which is really nice in the front here. I'm surprised that in the back they didn't do the checkering in the back. They just give straight serrations here, but it did give a good purchase and grip, and your hand is not going anywhere with that connected right here. There are nice. These are the G10 grips. These are, I believe, are either made from VZ. Don't quote me on that because I know Kimber does use Hogue manufacturing for their grips as well. The frame, as you see here, the frame here, which is interesting when I mentioned the weight earlier being 35 ounces. I think I said 34, but it's certain. I guess they've been upgrading their site. One part of the site says 35, one part says 34, but this is a steel frame here. Now, most commander size 1911s are used. Some of them are alloy or whatnot, and some of them are steel. Basically, I prefer the steel because it does help better with the recoil of the firearm, as well as getting your shots back on target. As with an alloy frame, you might have that additional extra flip that you have to muscle through, but not that much. Like I said, with the frame, it is steel. It has that satin stainless finish that they call it, and the width is going to be 1.28 inches. Let's go to where the slide is, and if you look at the slide here, it is stainless steel, but it's finished in what they call their Pro 2 finish. This is supposed to help with durability, so like any other firearm that has melanite finishing, etc. But this is that particular finish. And it's a nice looking finish. It's not really shiny, but it's not not kind of dull either. And you probably already noticed that there's these hexagonal serrations here. Kimber calls that their, I believe, the AEX serrations here. The AEX serrations help with a good purchase when you're trying to rack your slide or whatnot. This isn't fully broken in. It's shot well, but it's not fully broken in where you would get that real smoothness. So it's still a little bit tight. I will mention this. When I was at the range, what I did was when I purchased the firearm at my firearm shop, what I did was I put a little bit of lube right here. You can see it's a little bit greasy there. I'm going to do a further takedown and then do a better cleaning and so forth. But since I had the firearm and the place where I buy the firearm is also a range, I wanted to put a little bit of lube on here so it could make sure it would cycle properly, and of course on right at the top of the barrel and also in this area here. The thing about it is a little bit of the oil got onto my hands, and as I was trying to rack the slide, it was a little hard. I had to apply extra pressure because my hands were slippery. It was easier to do it this way as opposed to going across, which that's what I normally do. I like to rack my slides in that position, but it was easier this way. So something to think about if somebody's worried about these serrations, because they do not have that on the front of this one here. That's only on the custom model. The custom model of the Aegis Elite have this pattern also in the front. So that's, like I said, a little bit something to think about. The sights here are fiber optic. They're very nice sights. As you see, it's glowing a little bit under the lighting that I have, and it's a 3-dot sight configuration here. And they do give you extra spare what the word is escaping me, but the extra sights in the for this, so you'll be, just in case these fall out or whatever, you can replace those. I forget the actual term for it, but these sights, what I like about these sights, when I was at the range, I could pick these up very well, especially the red fiber optic. And the red fiber optic got me on target very quickly, very easily, and it made me get my sight picture very well. So, and another thing with these sights is that this is also a metal sight, where a lot of people complain about on certain 1911s, they are Novak style. Well, this is more of your combat style. So if you have an injured hand or anything like that, you could rack it the slide with your boot or a table or whatnot. So this is a welcoming addition to this particular line. Outside of that, here the trigger here is it's aluminum, and it's a 4 to 5 pound trigger pull, and it's a very nice and crisp pull. You just go in, you pull your trigger. There's no creep, but it's a little bit of a press. And here's your reset. Comes out a little further, but I don't mind the reset being that far. I'm going to do that again with the reset coming out like that. You see, there's a click there. It all depends on how you place your finger. The thing about this is, they say 4 to 5 pound trigger pull. While I was shooting this pretty well, hitting the target. And one time I was not ready for the shot, because what I like to do as I release the trigger, I don't lose my trigger finger, never loses contact on the trigger. So as I was letting it out, I must have pulled the trigger again, and then there was a shot that went off before I expected it, and therefore it went a little bit off target, and I will show you that target in a moment. Okay, here are my targets. This target is roughly about, these are my first initial shots. These were roughly at 7 yards. 7 yards, I was hitting very good right in here. And then when I was telling you about those errant shots, I did 3 of them in this, actually 4. I'll show you that in a minute. But there was a shot here that went off, and a shot here that went off. And I was trying to shoot at a faster pace. So when I shot at a faster pace, sometimes that shot would go a little fast, would startle me. And that's not the shot that I really wanted to make, but that's what happens when you try to speed up. But it'll take some practice. And again here, this is still roughly about 7 or 8 yards now, because I moved it back for the headshots. As you could tell, as I was shooting faster, the spread is getting a little bit wider than what I expected it to be. And I'm going to show you the other target. Okay, here we go on this particular target. I didn't take a body shot on this one, but on this particular target, it was all headshots. And this was roughly about anywhere between 8 to 10. As I went further to 8 yards, this is what you see here. And I was shooting at a little bit of a faster pace. It spread out dramatically. And here's another errant shot that went off. But all in all, I'm pretty much happy with the group once I settled in. I brought the target back into roughly about 8 or 9 yards, and that's how I got this group here. So it is an accurate firearm, and I really like the fact that Kimber has really stepped up their game. And I know people people have a love-hate relationship with Kimber because before they were a great company. Then there were some, I guess, quality control issues. Their Raptor series was always their best series as far as I'm concerned. And then later on, it seems like Kimber is kind of making a comeback right now of sorts. And their comeback has sparked two different lines. One, like I said, they brought back the Aegis Elite line, which was absent, so they can make these upgrades to these firearms, and and of course with putting different optics and so forth, and also with the KHX line. The KHX line is a little bit more of a greenish type with different grips, and you may see a KHX in the future. I've always liked Kimber, but like I said, they had like a little bit of a sketchy period with their quality control, and to attest to that, I got rid of two Kimbers because was not happy with the way they performed, and I had 15 malfunctions out of 30, which is acceptable. So I think Kimber is on the right track right now to getting back to their quality that they should be doing, and with some of the products that they put out. But if you are a 1911 enthusiast, you can also get this in 9mm. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. You can get this in 9mm if you're not into the 45s. Yes, 45 is a little bit more expensive to shoot, but you can get this very same firearm with in 9mm. I don't think, no, this does not come in a 10mm though. But I really love this firearm, and you're going to see a 3-horse race with this. What I mean by 3-horse race, I have two other 1911s that I'm going to pair it up with. One, and they're pretty much similar dimensions. One's going to be the Dan Wesson Guardian. The other one will be the 6 Hour Emperor Scorpion Carry. So I'll probably be doing that in the future, because there is something interesting that I noticed about this firearm between the other two. I'm not finished testing yet, but there is something very similar between, especially with the 6 Hour Scorpion and this one, and I will give a review on that later. So with that said, that's all I have. Thank you for watching. Happy shooting. Stay safe. #2A.